Your question came through fine. I don't know if they heard.
Just leave it on.
Blanche, who's making motions today?
Good evening and welcome to the City of Pasco City Council meeting. The council thanks you for being part of your city government. An agenda packet is available on the City of Pasco's website at www.pasco-wa.gov/agenda. Please note that the City Council meetings are temporarily held being held remotely and are accessible through GoToWebinar. These virtual meetings will continue through April and may be extended if need be. This directive was issued on March 23rd by Governor Inslee and was clarified by the Governor's Proclamation number 20-28. That made temporary changes to Open Public Meetings Act. This meeting is being televised live on PSC-TV channel 191 on Spectrum Cable in Pasco and Richland and is streamed in the city's Facebook page, website, and YouTube channel. The meeting is also live via GoToWebinar link on the agenda. Lastly, for those individuals listening in, may submit their comments and or questions for items not on the agenda via GoToWebinar, the City of Pasco's Facebook page, or by emailing the city manager directly. May we get a roll?
Mr. Alvarado.
Present.
Ms. Barajas.
Present.
Mr. Maloney.
Present.
Mr. Milne.
Present.
Ms. Roach.
Present.
Mr. Serrano.
Here.
Six present here.
Thank you. And our mayor, Saul Martinez, is not in today, and he's traveling, so we'll send him good vibes and prayers wherever he may be. He'll join us in the next meeting. Let's stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag.
of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now we go to our agenda. I'll read through the consent agenda items individually. All consent items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by roll call vote or as one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If further discussion is desired by council members or the public, the item may be removed from the consent agenda at the regular agenda and considered separately. And so I need a motion to approve the minutes. We go through.
If you just read all three of the items, then they can ask for the motion, okay?
So item A, approval of meeting minutes from our remote meeting, our last remote meeting. Item B, bills and communications to approve claims in the total of $3,197,848.74. To approve bad debt write-off for utility billing, ambulance, cemetery, general accounts, miscellaneous accounts, and municipal court, non-criminal, criminal, and parking accounts receivable in the total amount of $167,668.19, and of that amount authorized $28,844.94 to be turned over for collection. And item C, the meter reading service agreement. to adopt resolution number 3955, approving a 5-year professional services agreement with Columbia Meter Reading Incorporated for meter reading services, and further authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. Do I have a motion?
Business Mayor Pro Tem, I would like to make a motion. I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Thank you.
Serrano, second.
And we have Mr. Serrano, consent?
Yes, second.
Second, thank you. That's been moved and approved.
Should we do roll call?
And should we do a roll call on this?
Serrano,
Yes.
Alvarado,
Yes.
Maloney,
Yes.
Milne,
Yes.
Roach,
Yes.
and Barajas.
Yes,
Passed unanimously.
thank you. Now we move on to proclamations and acknowledgements. None this evening, thank you. Number 6, any reports from committee members and or officers?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Barajas, I have one from Hanford Communities. And that is that there was an amendment to the interlocal agreement, and from here on out, TRIDEC will be performing the work of the operating jurisdiction. And so that is the newest with that board.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mayor Pro Tem Barajas, this is Ruben. I'd like to report I attended a web meeting where I was a panelist to talk with the rest of Washington State Good Roads. Good Roads associations are kind of more lobbying bodies that lobby for transportation-related matters. There's a few active ones in the Washington State, and I chair the one here in Benton, Franklin, and Walla Walla. And I was able to give an update about the different major projects we have underway here in the 3 cities and one in Walla Walla. But also we got a presentation from Washington State Department of Transportation with some very sobering information about the state of repair. And just for us to pay attention that there's not a lot of dollars for repair. And so just something to keep for council to be aware of is that we definitely in Washington State are in some pretty difficult situation when it comes to repair. So I'll be doing updates on that as we get more information from WashDOT. Something we already knew, but I think with this situation, it's kind of exacerbated. Anyway, just wanted to give an update on that.
Thank you for the update. Anyone else?
Yes, just wanted to also let the council know and others who were there that I participated with Mayor Martinez and other local electeds in city and county and school district on the Benton Franklin Health District webinar that took place last week on Tuesday, and it's been happening every week. And it sounded as if we were due for, as of Tuesday, we were going to get rapid testing. I don't know from Tuesday until today whether those have been received and whether they're being used, but that was the update as to having rapid testing available in Tri-Cities.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so we'll move over to the number 7. Any hearings and council action on ordinances and resolutions related thereto? None, so we'll move to number 8, ordinances and resolutions not related to hearings. Item A, the speed limit ordinance on Chapel Hill Boulevard. Mr. Director Worley.
Good morning, Madam Mayor Pro Tem.
Good morning, sir.
Councilman. This evening, we are revisiting the item that we discussed last week at the workshop, and that is to set the speed limit for that new portion of Chapel Hill Boulevard between Road 84 and Road 68. And in the packet last week and in this week's packet, there's information about the speed study that was done. And I have no new information to share, so happy to answer any additional questions related to this matter.
Thank you for that. Anyone have any questions? Okay, no questions. So do I get a motion?
Ms. Mayor Pro Tem, this is Greg Maloney. I'd like to make a motion.
Yes.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4488, establishing a speed limit on Chapel Hill Boulevard between Road 84 and Road 68, and further authorize publication by summary only.
I'll second that. Councilman Milne.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second by Councilmember Milne. Any other questions on this item?
Yeah, this is Serrano. Do we want to date the speed limit that we're going to post there?
What was that again?
I believe the resolution recommends a 35-mile-an-hour speed zone.
Any
Yeah,
other
I just wanted to get that on there for the record so that in the event that anyone is linked in that they, so, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, moving forward to item B, street vacation, a portion of East Pueblo Street. And we have, who do we have on this one? Director
I
White?
don't think we took a vote, Mayor Pro
Oh.
Tem. I believe we had to take a vote on that last
I
one.
apologize. Let's go back on item B. Sorry, item A. You're ready?
No, it's just a roll, voice call.
All those in favor for item A?
Aye.
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 Thank you. All right, so item B, the street vacation, Director White.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Both this item and the next item are very similar. They're both proposed resolutions that would set public hearings for two street vacations to Monday, May 18th. This particular street vacation involves Pueblo Street, which is one of the streets that is dispensable, at least as developed by City Council in the late 1990s. It sets the May 18th date for the hearing, and the applicant intends to develop a heavy commercial industrial building and associated yard, assuming that the street vacation is ultimately approved.
Perfect. Any comments from our council? No comments. Do I get a motion?
Yes, this is Craig Maloney. I'd like to make a motion. I move to approve resolution number 3956, setting 7 p.m. Monday, May 18th, 2020 as the time and date to conduct a public hearing to consider vacating a portion of East Pueblo Street.
Thank you. Do I get a second?
Second, Serrano.
That was Mr. Serrano, second. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Any other comments on this item? Okay, thank you. Item C, Director Rick.
Again, thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. This also sets Monday, May 18th as the date for a public hearing to involve a proposed street, to have a public meeting for a proposed street vacation at Adams Street and Rainier Avenue in the city's light industrial zoning district. The applicant has assembled a number of properties in this area, and although would intend, if council approves, to vacate the right-of-way, they will be rededicating an almost identical amount of right-of-way to make several of the parcels in this area more conducive to development. Again, this resolution would set Monday, May 18th as the public hearing date for this proposed street vacation.
Perfect, thank you. Any comments or questions? Do I get a motion?
Yes, Ms. Mayor Pro Tem, this is Councilmember Maloney. I move to approve resolution number 3957, setting 7 o'clock p.m. Monday, May 18th, 2020 as the time and date to conduct a public hearing to consider vacating portions of East Adams Street and North Rainier Avenue.
I'll second. This is Councilmember Alvarado.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarado. And all those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Aye.
Any other comments? Okay. Now, number 9, any unfinished business?
None this evening.
10, new business.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just wanted to talk a few minutes about our April 27th City Council workshop. As the Council is aware, Governor Inslee's proclamation 20-28 limits business to be conducted at public meetings, such as City Council meetings, to necessary and routine, or in response to the COVID-19 matter. There being none anticipated relating to COVID-19, and the fact because we can't have public at our meetings, our agendas are very limited. We don't anticipate bringing any items to the May 4th meeting that would need to be discussed at the April 27th workshop in advance. Staff's recommending to cancel that workshop meeting.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Do I get a motion?
Yeah, Ms. Mayor Pro Tem, this is Councilmember Maloney. I move to cancel the April 27th, 2020 remote council workshop meeting, observing the directive mandated within Governor Inslee's proclamation numbers 20-28 and 20-25.1.
Thank you. Do I get a second?
I'll second Serrano.
Thank you, Councilmember Serrano. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Did we get all of you? I think we did. Okay, moving forward to 11, any miscellaneous discussion?
I did have a few items, Madam Mayor, so if I could. One, want to make sure everyone's aware, because the governor's proclamation actually goes to midnight of May 4th, our May 4th regular meeting is going to have to be a remote meeting as well, unless he were to lift the prohibition on those early. And we'll certainly be keeping an eye on that because that deadline's just a couple weeks away. So on the COVID-19 front, I've been trying to give you an update on a weekly basis. So tonight I had a few things I wanted to share with you. We have a continued high operational tempo. Readiness levels are actually pretty high. And absenteeism due to illness, fortunately, remains still very low. So that's a good thing going in the city workforce's favor. City is adjusting well to the remote workstations, but I think like a lot of the community and the nation, the isolation is starting to wear a little bit. Organizationally, our COVID response has been able to flatten a little bit, which has allowed more time for work on routine city business. We have a bond issue coming up, and I shared a number of projects last week. We have budget, we have CIP, those kind of things. Looking forward, as I mentioned earlier, the effective date of the governor's order is approaching in just a couple weeks now. And our COOP, our continuity of operation group, has started planning for a phased opening to what will likely be a changed normal, at least for a while. Workplace protections for the staff was a big topic at our meeting this morning. Assuring for appropriate PPE, separation among the workforce so they can maintain social distancing, and whether that's through distance or through screening, sanitation, safety training, those kind of items. And so we're gearing up for that. As the workforce starts to come back and we start to move into more natural positions to serve the public, assuming that our public offices will be allowed to be open here shortly. So secondarily, and actually equally as important, protection for the public in our public areas as they open. And so not only screening between the employees and the public, but between the public and the public. So making sure there's a divider, for instance, between windows, making sure we're managing our queues where we have lines and we're maintaining that spacing like we're seeing in some of our retail establishments, signage to remind folks, and monitoring, looking at ways we can monitor capacity in the building just to make sure that we can maintain social distancing. As I mentioned, we're in the planning stages now, knowing 2 weeks is nowadays a half-life. A lot of things can change in a couple of weeks. We're continuing to monitor what kind of guidance we might get out of CDC, what is going to come out of the governor's office in terms of what's going to be open and what will remain closed, and we're going to take our cues from there. But we're trying to plan, trying to lean forward into it and plan accordingly so we're ready to go when the time comes. So, other thing I mentioned, and Madam Mayor, you mentioned it earlier, Mayor Martinez, I spoke with him earlier today, and he needed to be out because of family business until actually next Wednesday. But he also was on the statewide call that Councilmember Roach mentioned, and he wanted me to share with the council a few things, the major themes of that. And Councilmember Roach, I'm assuming you'll probably want to jump in on this, but he noted the major themes being kind of a back to business sense out there with proper precautions, most particularly those industries where social distancing and PPE is available to protect the workforce. Another theme that was prevalent, and this was a lot of mayors and council members from across the state, consideration of some recreation, the kind of the low contact things where social distancing is possible, like golf or fishing, where those things can be maintained. And then he expressed some concerns, and we've seen that also on our city Facebook account and in the community on consistency of responses relating to some industries. We have some businesses that have had some COVID cases that are causing some concern in the community. So he'd share that concern with the governor during that call. But he wanted to make sure that council was aware and the public was aware that the call was productive. He felt he was able to share some concerns that he'd heard from council members as well as the public with the governor, and that those concerns were listened to, and that we're not alone. There are a lot of communities expressing similar concerns. So that's what I had to report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, there is a lot of concerns regarding going back to business. I've gotten some messages, and so just want to let the community know that we're trying and working our best and following the governor's directives, and we'll update you as soon as we know more information, and we'll definitely update our social media accounts. So please follow the social media accounts, go on the City of Pasco website, and if all else, give the office a call. Any other comments from any of the members? No. Number 12, any need for executive session?
Not this evening.
Thank you. And so with that, we are done with our meeting for tonight. Council meeting has reconvened, and with no further business, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.